Welcome back to the On the Bloc podcast. Today you've got myself, Ryan, content manager for Bloc, and I'm very lucky to be joined today by Cal. So Cal, if you want to take it away and introduce yourself, mate.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I'm Cal. I post men's fashion content on TikTok and Instagram. Pretty much just get ready with me's, occasionally other bits and bobs in there. I'm on a sort of like a fitness journey, as it were, so I'm talking about that a little bit as well. That's me, man. It's nothing too complicated.
So probably to kick off, I'm sure like we'll definitely leave everything linked below. But for anyone that doesn't know, Cal is, well, for me, like I found you through your video content on TikTok. Probably the Cole Buxton algorithm. I'd be likely to say there. But for your fashion journey, when does fashion really start mattering to you? Like, how did you get into being interested in menswear? Where did that start?
So it's years ago. So I was probably about 13 years old, and I was in JJB Sports. I don't know if you remember JJB. And there was a
Cheap
pair of
football
all white.
shit.
Yeah. So there was a pair of all white Air Max 90s up on the wall, right? And I said to my mum, I was like, can I get these trainers? Like, these are so nice. And she was like, ask your dad. And my dad said, get a job and you can buy your trainers. And I was like, yeah, all right, mate, I'm 13. Like, how am I going to do that? Anyways, about a week later, he comes around and he's like, right, the neighbour, he's got a job for you, but you've got to go over and you've got to knock his door and you've got to ask for the job. So I, plucked up all my courage as a 13-year-old boy, went over, knocked the door, spoke to him, lovely bloke, and he gave me a job. So I started working as like an industrial cleaner, basically cleaning offices, doing pest control. But it meant that, and he paid me like an adult. So I had quite a lot of money as a 13-year-old boy. I'm earning anywhere between £200 and £400 a month, and I've got nothing to spend it on other than shoes, right? So I bought the white Air Max 90s, and then I bought something else. I bought another pair of shoes on eBay, actually. They were a pair of 2005 size exclusive Air Max 90s. They're like black, orange, red, speckled midsole, stunning. And I remember...
Have you still got them?
Pardon?
Have you still got them?
No, they're gone now, man. Yeah, they crumbled a number of years ago. Yeah, it was a bit of a shame. Like, I mean, 20 years old now, right? So it's vintage Air Max. They never last. But I remember going into school and putting these Air Maxes on, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, they are bad. They are so cool. They're wicked." And then from there, I just became the guy with the trainers, right? And I just continuously trawl eBay, because back in the day there was no Vinted, there was no Depop. It was just eBay was the only place I could go to find these like exclusive drops that I'd missed years before. So I got into that heavily, and I was just buying trainers all the time. Got involved with the Crep City team a number of years ago, around sort of when I was at uni. Fantastic group of guys, absolutely love them. Ron's a legend. The whole event is fantastic, which obviously just kept me in the loop of buying trainers. And then when I finished uni, I decided, you know what, I need to start thinking about my clothes as well, because I wasn't badly dressed necessarily, but I didn't care as much about the outfit as I did about the shoes. And so I've sort of, over the last 10 years maybe, sort of pivoted a little bit away from just trainers and started to really enjoy my clothes. And I like texture and materials, so I like good quality materials. Like I always used to love, I don't know, because you're a trainer guy, right? Saucony, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, everyone always tells me that's wrong, but they do some really good collabs, and the materials are always 10/10, like really buttery suedes and nice. I had a pair of Shadow 6Ks that were like a knitted wool, like woven into, just stuff like that. That really does it for me. So nowadays it's sort of doing the same thing, but it's nice leather on boots and loafers, and it's a nice pattern or a nice textured knit jumper. I think I'm just a nerd, really. I think that's what it is. I'm just a nerd for like clothes and shoes.
I think we all are, aren't we? We're all a bit like can't wait to like I am literally constantly on my phone flicking through what's the latest drop, and like I need, the worst is emails. Like I need to unsubscribe from every mailing list. Like it is bad. Like you say, illicit block. their mailing list needs to go. Cole Buxton, their mailing list needs to
Yeah.
go. Like it's dangerous. And in terms of like the brands that you're really liking now, I think I could probably guess from your content. But for people who don't know, what would be those big brands that you're really into at the moment? And has
So
that changed? Like,
it does, it changes a little bit. Yeah, it depends on my life, right? So my a big part of my content is personal style, and I know that that's a word a phrase that gets knocked about a lot, but it's very much dependent on whatever I'm into at the time. So my style will ebb and flow with whatever's going on in my life. A big staple, as you know, is Cole Buxton. I discovered Cole Buxton in sort of 2019 and started buying their clothes and realized as a slightly bigger guy, they fit really well. So I sort of built my wardrobe as like the foundations were pretty much Cole Buxton. And on top of that, I've got like illicit block as well. Absolutely love illicit block. Really, really fantastic. Like the t-shirts I think are probably the best t-shirts on the market. I mean, mind you, they're spenny, but the fit, the quality, like, you know, I've had this thing for a number of years, and every time I wash it, the shape's the same, the color's the same, you know, like it ages really well. I love a bit of Stussy, Patter as well. Both of those, big fan. And like some of the sort of Scandi brands, so like Our Legacy, Acne Studios, really enjoying their stuff at the moment, and that's more into the menswear and away from sort of streetwear. What else have we got? I mean, there's a few others. There's other brands that I like the look of that I don't own anything from. One of the big ones being Marnie. They do some fantastic stuff with like knitwear, and again, it's textures and materials in bright, wacky colours that I think is really cool. So yeah, it's a mixed bag basically.
I think I'd be pretty similar to you, to be fair. Like, if every brand that you name there is probably what ones that I would say, and I think definitely for like people who haven't tried illicit block, probably Cold Bucks, and I'd say it's probably slightly bigger. But I think, like you say, for me on both of them too, like you say, I'm quite a stocky guy. I'm a bit of a bigger guy. That finding t-shirts that I like the fit of is so hard. And
Yeah,
like for me, my go-tos are all, I know if I get a Cold Buxton or a illicit block tee, I'm gonna like the fit of it. I hate t-shirts that are like proper thin, or like that thing that you can almost like see through. I hate that. And like you say, it does come at a premium, but I think both of them, especially illicit block, have nailed the quality and the fit. And I'm I mean, it is. They're not cheap, but I guess you get what you pay for. But there are a lot of bigger designer brands that charge a lot more. I mean, you've only got to look at like Prada t-shirts, for example. Like Prada t-shirts look the part, but I hate how thin they are, and they are
yeah,
probably three times the price.
yeah.
But
See, that's an interesting one that because someone told me years ago. One of my mates, Cam, basically told me about buying things from a company that don't specialize in making that thing, and it stuck with me forever. So like, the example he gave to me was like Montclair, right? I see loads of blokes walking around in Montclair t-shirts. Why are you buying Montclair t-shirts? That's not what Montclair do well. Montclair do jackets, right? So if you're going to buy something from Montclair, you buy the jacket. Stone Island, you buy knitwear or you buy outerwear. Like there's like Levi's, I buy the denim, but I'm probably not wearing a Levi's t-shirt because it's not what they're good at. And I think as you get into it, you learn, okay, well, this company's good at doing that and that company's good at doing this. So like Cole Buxton, for instance, love the brand, absolutely do. But like I don't, their denim doesn't work for my body type. Like I'm a
me neither.
34 to 36 waist, right? A double XL Cole Buxton jean is probably the only thing that's going to fit me. And like respectfully, I'm not a double XL. So like the shape is just, it's not quite right. So like I probably wouldn't buy the denim from there, but I would definitely buy tees, sweats, trackies, like caps, and like, you know, their outerwear stuff is fantastic. I mean, I've got a leather jacket from them that is just, oh mate, sublime. Makes me feel fantastic every time I wear it. But yeah, so it is an interesting one, and the price point's always something that gets discussed, especially when, you know, we're in the age where people are charging £95 for a t-shirt. That's a lot of fucking money, man. Like you could go on £95. You know, I can put petrol in my car for 95 quid, and drive it for a month. But it's all down to just knowing what you like and personal preference. So for you, you don't like the thinner materials, and Cole Buxton, as of the last sort of 2 or 3 years, have introduced a more lightweight cotton. And so some of their t-shirts are the classic heavyweight stuff, and some of it's this sort of lighter GSM, borderline see-through. And people have been going mad about how much they hate it, and that's completely fair. But I've got a couple of them, and they just drape so nicely. They like hang off the body really, really well. So for me, there's like the time and a place.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, but I feel like some people, and I saw like some people commenting about like the new t-shirts and saying like they're too thin, but I feel like some people didn't realize that it's two different things,
Yeah,
and it's always hard when people expect all one thing, then they try and pivot, and it's a bit like, well, you're not buying the same product. It's meant to be different,
yeah,
but I think, like you say, knowing your own personal style is quite important. Like I think Instagram's obviously the worst place for it. That you'll see stuff and you're like, that looks sick, like looks great on someone else, but when you
yeah,
get it, it's like, like I'm not 6'4", built like a model. Like this,
yeah,
it looks great on them. It looks terrible on me. Like, as you mentioned, jeans there. Like, one, I hate wearing jeans. Two, finding jeans that fit is like impossible.
mm,
Like, or I like the fit of, or I think out of all the jeans I've got, I wear one pair probably. I've probably got about 20 pairs of jeans, and I wear one of them. And it's I've got a pair of Acne jeans that I got from Matches when they were closing down. And because I'm quite, well, I'm not short. I'm like just under 6 foot, but
mm-hmm.
I always find that jeans they're always made mega long, aren't they? And you have to get them
Yeah, yeah,
tailored,
yeah,
and it's just like, oh, I can't be arsed with the faff of that. So I'm always like, right, sweats, and I don't know if it's a COVID thing that I'm like that used to just being like sweats, or I like Uniqlo's
mm,
like the smart trousers.
yeah.
I can't remember what the product's called, but like they're just so comfy. They look
So comfy. Yeah,
and like you can wear them with dress them up, dress them down. They look fine, but they're literally I think they're like 20 quid, and
mm.
it's either them or CB sweats or Stussy sweats that I'm not just like I can't be asked to wear jeans anymore, or like if anyone's got good jeans recommendations, I'm here for them because
Oh, do you know what? I have one
yeah,
for you, right? So this is I discovered. I always thought Levi's, right? I just 501s is the straight leg jean. 501s look awful on me. Like they look really bad. They're almost like borderline skinny fit. Even if I go up a waist size, it doesn't work with my body type because I'm similar to you. I'm 5'11", right, and I weigh about 94 kilos, so I'm on the bigger side for my height. But Levi's 550s are my like staple. I have them in multiple colors and I wear them religiously. They're like really roomy through the thigh and sort of like I mean, I think they call it a relaxed straight leg. I wouldn't go as far as to say baggy, but they're definitely loose, relaxed, comfortable. And I got all of mine on Vinted, and I don't think I paid more than, I think most expensive pair was £18. So like it's such an easy one to try out, I'd say. I think I'm not sure. Someone said to me the other day they might have discontinued them in store. So I would say yeah, get on Vinted, man. I mean, for 15, 20 quid, worth the
can't,
risk.
yeah, can always sell them on. Like, I'm definitely gonna have to
Exactly.
give it a go. But yeah, I think that's my thing at the minute is trying to buy stuff that you'll I am the worst for like buying stuff, and it sits in my wardrobe, or I'll buy it and then because I've seen it on someone else and I'm like, I should have just returned this when I got it. Like
Yeah.
I like But I suppose that like I think that's started to happen less now that I've just been like I'll see some less than it probably did a couple of years ago. That like I'm just like I know the brands I like, I know how they fit. I'm gonna stick to them unless there's like new smaller brands. But I think in general, like a lot of this new smaller brands that are popping up, like this is a Solace tea. So
Oh yeah,
Tom does some really great stuff, and like the quality on this is fantastic. The fit's fantastic, but I feel like now these now with the change in the internet and people being more aware of what quality product is and the levels of like illicit Bloc, Cole Buxton, like all these smaller brands that are popping up, to compete, you've got to be at that level because like if you're not, people are like a lot more aware of
yeah,
what like 5 6 years ago, people would be like wouldn't know what GSM was. Like
yeah, yeah,
they
yeah.
would not. You would not care. Like you're like, oh, it looks cool. But like now, I feel like, especially in the menswear space, everyone's a lot more aware of what quality fabric is. And I know GSM level isn't everything. Like
Yes.
obviously the wash, where it's produced, like there are a lot of different factors in it. But I feel like people are a bit more aware of what a quality product is and expect that from smaller brands and maybe sort of I don't know. I feel like there's definitely been more of a pivot away from people who are into clothes, away from maybe fast fashion as well, because
Oh,
of
absolutely. I think so. Yeah, 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 for sure. I think I've seen that in the biggest way in the last sort of few years, where 5 10 years ago, the fashion girlies were doing big hauls with like Zara or whatever it might be, and I know that those things still happen, but I think the wider social movement away from fast fashion is partly because a lot of it's pants, if we're being honest. Like a lot of the quality of materials, you've got loads of poly blends. It's all made of plastic, and you wash it a few times and it's done. But also it's the environmental factor as well. And I think you can't take from Gen Z and the coming generations because they're doing so well at pushing back against these massive, great big sort of multinational companies that are just sort of killing the planet. Like for me personally, I thankfully am in a position where I don't need to buy things on like Shein and things like that. But I think even if I did, I probably wouldn't. I don't think I'd be into clothes if I couldn't afford to be into clothes, which probably sounds bad. But if I want something on the cheap, I always just go vintage. That's always where I go. Like I spend hours on vintage. Like vintage, it's got the algorithm thing where it's like suggested for you. That thing's got me dialed in, man. Like it knows me so well from the amount of time I've spent on there. And I pick up some great stuff secondhand. I think predominantly I buy secondhand these days. Like even a lot of my CB stuff was secondhand because I'm not a rich man and I can't afford to be necessarily buying things from brands brand new on drop date every time. But I do still want high quality clothing because I want stuff that I want to be able to buy something
and it lasts.
and it lasts exactly. Yeah. It's interesting. You mentioned a bit earlier about you sort of buying things and then thinking you should have returned them or having them in the wardrobe for ages and not wearing them. I do a very similar thing, but I think I've got a problem with like scarcity. So from collecting trainers as a kid, I'd have like my favorite pairs and then I'd have my beaters, right? It's a pretty common thing for anyone
Mm-hmm.
collecting shoes. But I used to like pretty much baby my favorite pairs and never wear them.
Yeah, same.
And then as I've got older, I've had some absolutely gorgeous pairs. Like I had a pair of the original 2001 Air Max 95 Luxes, the Italian leather, the ones that Supreme did a little rehash of it a couple of years back. Well, I
Yeah,
had a pair of those, right? Absolutely loved them. Big bubble, fantastic. Never wore them. Put them on the other week, and they just crumbled. Like, just fell apart immediately. And I do the same thing with clothes, where like I'll buy some really nice t-shirts and stuff, and then they just sit in the wardrobe because I'm almost like,
scared to wear them.
yeah, like because what if I'm walking to the office with a cup of coffee and I spill coffee all over like a brand new Cole Buxton white t-shirt, and I'm out 90 bar or whatever it is, and I'd just be livid with myself. And I'm trying to get out of that place. I'm trying to enjoy my wardrobe more because I've got loads of nice clothes. I might as well wear more than just a plain white Uniqlo t-shirt. Like I should really enjoy it more, and so I'm working to try and do that. Which sounds daft, and anyone who doesn't like care about clothes is probably not going to understand why I would be like that. But yeah, I'm trying to get away from that scarcity mindset and to enjoy my clothes more.
An interesting thing you mentioned there is about vintage and about shopping secondhand and vintage. And I think we're both of a similar age bracket where we've probably been through the phases of that. But do you think now, like, it's more acceptable to do? Because like, I think like if say when you and me were at high school, like, do you think the perception then? I mean, just from my personal opinion, that buying secondhand when we were like in high school age, maybe 10, 15 years ago, you'd have been like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
Like,
it's funny one. I probably wouldn't have bought secondhand clothes back then, but obviously I was buying secondhand trainers. So I was buying pretty much all of my shoes I was looking for. I wanted stuff that no one else had, which meant that I couldn't go to JD, I couldn't go to Foot Locker. I had to go onto eBay, something that dropped a few years back, which meant I was buying a lot of secondhand trainers. And I do remember at the time getting people saying like, "Oh, what? Like I would never do that. Like you're putting your foot in somewhere that like someone else's foot's been and da da da." But so today it's almost like such a known thing that you just do that. It's just so normalized now
mhm.
to just shop vintage, and I think that's fantastic. I do, but yeah, you're absolutely right. Back in the day, I wouldn't have bought secondhand clothes because I got enough jip for wearing secondhand trainers.
Yeah, it's definitely been a change of perception, and I think the whole I think it may maybe a COVID thing and a change in a generation thing, but I think the COVID thing maybe really sparked it of like, the world can't keep going as it is, and that was a real
Yeah,
big scary moment for everyone of like, what the hell's going on? And like similar to that fast fashion thing, that like people are just like, oh, I can get a good deal second hand, get a good deal picking up bargains. Mace is an absolute sniper on vintage for Cole
yeah,
Buxton as well.
yeah,
He's got a few bargains out of me, to be fair, as well. But I think, yeah, I think like I probably need to do that a bit more. I mean, I'm a big person for like selling on vintage, selling on eBay, Depop. Like, I always go through and clear stuff out. But I think for me, I tend to not buy second hand, but because like I'm never sure if I like the fit of it. Like
yeah. That's a tricky one. Yeah, that's
because
usually the difficult part. So I will not buy something usually secondhand if I haven't already tried it on or know how that
what it fits.
particular brand fits. So like obviously I can buy secondhand Cole Buxton, secondhand illicit Bloc. I know exactly what my sizes are, so there's never a risk of it not fitting. But there's been other times where I'm looking at, for instance, I was looking at a pair of Doc Martin loafers, and I'm like, well, I don't want to buy them full price when I know that there's loads of them out on the market. So I just went into store to try a pair on, and then was like, right, okay. I actually ended up not buying them because I didn't like how they were like on foot. But that's what I would usually do is I try and find somewhere stocking something similar or something from the brand, try that on, and then go online and go and try and find it. But it is tricky every time.
And then going back to sort of maybe switching now towards your footwear collection. Like, I didn't know you were that big into trainers. So that's good to hear. Like, I am the worst for buying trainers. The worst. I've got to be like, on my in my back room. My whole wall is literally just like, I've got them the IKEA. I forgot what
Yeah,
the
yeah,
range
yeah.
of shelves is, but I've literally got them filled with shoes, and like I think it's that almost like the limited scarcity thing, like you say, of like when someone drops, I'm like, I hope I win this, and then you're like, I'm 150 quid down here, but
Yeah, but I'm
I,
happy about
you
it.
know, yeah. Are there any sort of, well, probably a twofold question at the minute is, are there any drops that you've really wanted to get a hold of and missed out on, or any that you're looking forward to? And then off the back of that, what is your current opinion on Nike and Nike's trainers?
Cool. So to answer the first question, yes, I missed out on the Stash 95s. Didn't get them. And then actually, I was in Amsterdam last week, and I went into Patta, and they had a pair in there, and I looked at them, and I thought, I'm not sure these are anywhere near as good
The
as the
original.
original. The originals were so much better. Like from a material standpoint, the originals are so clear. Like that like gradient nubuck in sort of the charcoal grey gradient as it goes up the shoe, and they've swapped it now to this like nylon-y plastic thing at the top. I just thought they were
Yeah,
pants. So I missed them,
same.
and I'm happy I missed them to some extent. And it does look like there's a lot out on the market. So maybe I've actually could still pick them up if I chose to. But that's probably the biggest one that I've missed and regretted. And then Nike, it's a funny one, man. I will always love Nike. Like it's they could come round to my house and slap both sides of my face, and I'd still buy their shoes. But the quality of their stuff is just it's awful, man. Like it's like the quality control is out the window. There's pretty much every time I pick up something, unless you get collab pairs, like there's some collab pairs that I've had that are really good. I got the Gutter Green Cortez 95s. Can't fault them. They're fantastic. They're really sturdy. The leather feels great. Everything about them feels bang on. And I got the Patta Chlorophyll Air Max 1s, which I've wanted since I was, back in uni, 18 or so, going to Crep City for the first time, seeing them. And those are actually perfect. I have no issues with them. But all of the general release Nike stuff just seems to be like glue everywhere,
Everywhere.
stitching bad. It's just, it's not ideal. But I guess they know they can get away with it, and they'll keep getting away with it because there are people like you and I who, I'm so entrenched in that brand, and particularly in the Air Max brand, that I'll still buy them.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed that. Like, I've had a few pairs of even things like Jordan 4s where you're talking about like 180, 200 quid, and you'll see like, I can't remember what pair it was, but it was I put it on my story earlier this year where there was literally like a glue stain all the way up like the midsole, and I'm like, how have they
Ridiculous.
sent this out? I sent them straight back to Offspring. So I was like, these are shite. Like, but I think it's an interesting one because, like you say, I'm in a very similar boat that I just love Nike, and I think I always will. But I think it's different to like peak 2020 where it was like Dunks and Jordan 1s resell through the roof. Obviously, there's a lot of different factors with like supply chain issues and stuff. Like reselling white Air Force Ones is mad.
Yeah.
Like those were crazy times. But like I feel like maybe now versus 5 years ago, brands like Saucony, Merrell, Salomon, Asics, New Balance. I think 10 years ago, I don't think I'd have considered wearing any of them. 5 years
Hmm.
ago, maybe a little bit coming into it, but like now, it's almost like these brands have almost overtaken Nike, and I think especially with
Yeah.
like you, like I say, I play cricket, and like a lot, so like I look after some of the junior section of like lads who are like 16, 17, 18, and like all them, I'll just be like, it isn't even Nike anymore. It's literally like general release Asics or the
Yeah.
1906Rs, and I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, this is mad. Like when I was in college, it was literally like Nike or Adidas. That's it.
Yeah.
Like that's it. And I don't know if you think the same or
So I was a bit different when I was younger because again I had this thing about I want to be different. I want to wear shoes that other people aren't wearing. So I was on to Saucony from about 16, and the same with Asics and New Balance. But a couple years prior, so when I was about 14, there was one of the lads that I used to knock about the skate park a lot in my local town, and one of the lads was in a pair of New Balance 1500s, and I was like, what are those? Those are some like Bugs Nikes, bro. Like, why have you got this N on the side of your shoe? Like, what's that about? And he was like, oh yeah, you're an idiot. I'm going to teach you something. And took me to the local skate shop and showed me these New Balances, and I looked at them in person and like the materials and stuff. And I was like, these are quite nice. So I started getting into them back then, and yeah, I mean, I got abuse for it. Like my pals would be like, "What are you wearing? Like, what are those? The Sauconys, they didn't get it." And now I think it's nice. I think it's a nice thing that people are branching out and that there are loads more options, especially considering that Nike's like general release price point is a bit insane now. Like,
Yeah,
you
so
used to be able
high.
to get 95s for 110, and you used to be able to get Air Max 90s for a oneers. Like comfortably everywhere you went, you like £90, £100, you could get a pair of Air Maxes. Nowadays, you're looking at the better part of 200 quid, and then that's not even into like Jordans. Like you say, Jordan 4s. I love Jordan 4s. I don't buy them anymore because they're just too much money. I can't warrant spending 200 quid on a pair of Jordan 4s that there's going to be glue marks all over them. They're gonna have QC issues left, right, and centre. Because the one pair of Jordan 4s that I love are the white cements, and my pair are the 2012 white cements, and they're even starting to fall apart now. And I would still wear them over buying a new pair because I've seen the new pairs and they're rubbish, man.
Yeah, I think it is interesting, and it'll be interesting to see how Nike sort of combats that. We had a similar chat with Mace on it about like the rise of Adidas and the Samba over the past year, and I think obviously it's a clean, easy to wear shoe, and it's always been about. But from a price point perspective, you can get a Samba for between 70 and 90 quid.
Yeah,
Like, and so like if you're thinking clean, easy to wear shoe, I can wear it with everything. If I beat it up, doesn't really matter. I don't feel like Nike has that. I don't feel like it's got a
no,
it's got cheap shoes, but the cheap shoes that you associate with Nike are stuff that you know is like straight in a clearance outlet,
yeah,
like the stuff that
yeah,
there's a reason it's in the clearance outlet. But I don't feel like it's got a basic entry, cheaper sort of
yeah.
alternative
No, it doesn't.
model.
No, I agree. It doesn't. I mean, it used to be the Air Force One, right? Like the Air Force One used to be relatively entry level. I remember being able to go into stores and pick up Air Forces for like 55 quid, 60 quid, something like that. Like, Foot Locker, you could just go in and get a pair. And so I was banging Air Forces for ages. And now it's like, what is it, a one off for a pair of Air Forces? I don't even know. I don't wear them anymore, really. But yeah, they don't really have that offering. And I think one thing that Adidas have done really well is with the Samba, they've done so many collabs with different brands. Like, Sporty and Rich did Sambas, Wells Bonner did Sambas. Like, there are so many out there, and they've done it. I think they've been quite smart because I don't know how these sort of collaboration deals come together and how they work, but they've chosen to do all of them on the Samba. So that model remains like very much the front runner, and so that it keeps it popular. If you see what I mean, because like
Mm-hmm.
as you all know, with fashion and clothes, and it's all cyclical, and things get trendy and then they don't, and then they trend again and then they don't. But I thought that the sandal was gonna die out, as it were, as a sort of trending item of footwear start last year, and they are very much still going, very much still dropping great pairs. Like I think you got the ASOS cow print ones, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think they're wicked. I'm a big fan of those. I want a pair of those. But they're just dropping interesting stuff, and I don't recall the last time Nike dropped something that wasn't a re-release of an old, like, with the stashes or with the chlorophylls, but that was interesting, exciting. Like, it's something that one of my favorite pairs. I've got the Atmos animal print 95s.
Yeah.
Just such an insane pair of trainers, mate. Like, I think like that level of detail, and we don't have that from Nike anymore. And for me, I'm not really one to buy entry level trainers that much, which I don't want to sound conceited, but I've done it, and I don't. I have a collection that I love so much. I don't really need to buy, a Samba that's like a black and white Samba that I can wear with everything, because I've already got shoes that I can wear with everything.
Yeah.
So if I'm picking up a pair now, I'm like, I want it to be, special. You know that feeling when you get like the collab pair and it's
Yeah.
just special.
And,
Yeah.
and I think like with Nike, I think they are so heavily reliant on Travis Scott and Cortez.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if I mean Cortez has got such a grip on the younger generation that
Mm.
I feel like if Nike didn't have that, I mean I'm not sure Cortez and Adidas would ever really work just because of the way it seems very much entrenched in like Clint and the
Mm.
brand, that it makes sense that it's got to be Nike from
Hmm.
his background and growing up and understanding how he's built the brand. That I don't think it translates to Adidas, so it makes sense. But I think if Nike didn't have Travis Scott and didn't have Cortez, they've
Yeah.
not got a lot else.
There's really not much. I mean, I don't know what happened behind the scenes with Kanye, where back when he sort of moved Yeezy over to Adidas, but I feel like that was the start of something a little bit shaky at Nike, and then things sort of have gone downhill since. I mean, for me, like, I would love to see some more collaborations between Nike and like Pata and Para. I think that sort of, having just come back from Amsterdam, the streetwear scene, the footwear scene out there is wicked, and the people are putting on heat on a regular basis, and like Patter and Power are culturally entrenched in that part of the world,
Mm-hmm.
as like the it brands, and I'd like to see some more of that. I mean, like Stussy and stuff. Like Nike have done Stussy Hirachis that were wicked. They used to be really popular. They've done those, was it Air Max 2013s that got quite popular, the Spiridons that did quite well. I don't know why they're not sort of pushing for more of that. But it does seem, like you say, I think in the States that it's very Travis Scott heavy, and over here it's very Cortez, and in Europe in general is very Cortez heavy. I'm not sure how well they do in the States, the Cortez pairs. I don't really know much, but I know that London, Paris, Milan, I think it's all European. Like the Cortez pairs do quite
Mm-hmm.
well. I would like to see Clint's favourite. He said in an interview that his favourite model is a 98, Air Max 98. And I love 98. So I would really like to see them do a collaboration pair of 98s. I think that would be a pair that I would definitely pick up. But yeah, I don't know. Nike have got some decisions to make. I'd say that if they want to, I mean, they're such a big company, but if they want to hold on to that market share, something's got to give. Something's got to change, because yeah, the other companies are fast approaching.
And something you mentioned there that actually just reminded me that I think the Kanye effect and the Yeezy effect was so big that obviously Adidas had to distance itself because of he seems to have completely lost the plot. But
Yeah.
to replace that such a huge gap in the market, it's probably allowed for all these other brands because
Hmm.
people were like Jordan 1s, Dunks, Yeezys. Now, if Yeezy's such a big market share and is gone, what else do we move
Yeah.
to? And that's probably where it's give the room for these other brands to come up. But thinking about it as well, the Yeezy price point, no Yeezys were cheap,
No.
really. Like,
No.
so you're sort of almost two birds with one stone of what we're saying of like people wanting a more affordable silhouette. And they've got them in mesh runners from whichever of the new
Everywhere.
brands you want. It's one of those. But also, I think we're now seeing that just how much Yeezy had a hold on the market for those years, especially to try and, I mean, for Adidas, that it must have been such a hard decision. Obviously, one it had to make because you can't be associated with. I mean, you've only got to look at his Twitter in the past few days to
Yeah,
just be
yeah, yeah.
like,
Absolutely.
this guy is not
Right.
the same person he was 20 years ago. But to give up like such a massive part of your business, and the Samba obviously wave has helped to pick that up, but it's also give opportunities for other brands. But it's interesting to see where the space goes, because it's like now Nike is probably not in the same viewpoint as it was. where do we go to next?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I have the opinion that it's probably not a popular one, that Yeezys ruined sneaker culture, particularly in this country, because that's the only one that I can speak about. But like going to like Crep City events, I used to go there and see like Ronnie Feek Asics, I'd see Saucony Butter collaborations, I'd see like loads of different things, vintage Air Maxes, everything. When the Adidas Yeezy sort of hype started, I remember going to an event and it was just Yeezys everywhere.
Turtle
And
doves.
yeah, the total exactly like all of that. It was, and that was pants for me. That was rubbish. I really didn't like it. I felt like it just became too focused. And now I think we've come out of that. Like you say, the sort of the Yeezy brand is dying, and people are starting to broaden their scope of what they're interested in again, which I just think is fantastic, man. Like it does benefit some of these companies that mesh runner look is sort of popular nowadays, like the classic dad shoe. And you know, Asics have been doing that for years. New Balance have been doing that for years. Saucony have been doing that for years. So you know, you can almost, they've benefited from the fact that it sort of moved in that direction. Whereas Nike don't really. I mean, they've got a couple of the P6000s, the Vomeros, I guess, are mesh runnery, but they don't really do like their Nike's dad shoes actually look like dad shoes. Like they look bad.
Yeah,
I think.
and is it M2K Techno?
Oh, I'll
Like,
tell you what, awful.
or there's a couple of pairs that I always see because I've got there's an outlet in Stoke and I always see them there. I can't think what the models are, but like you say, like they're not like in the same vein of like, and I think it also helps that maybe it's definitely a thing that like running clubs are definitely a thing now, and
Oh yeah,
that's definitely people are more conscious about their health. I think TikTok's played a big part of that, and people these shoes fit that. These shoes were built, designed, made to be functional, to use
yeah,
for running, for jogging, for training. And that probably goes hand in hand because you've now got a shoe that is comfortable, functional, affordable, but it also looks really nice.
yeah.
Whereas Yeezys were made from a design perspective. They weren't made for to be I know they've got an athleisure sort of design aspect, but they weren't
Yeah.
made
No,
to be to be running a
you
marathon.
don't run a 5K in a pair of Yeezy 700s. Like, it's just not. Yeah, you wouldn't do it, would you? Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting point, and an interesting point about how society's changing towards that sort of being fitter, and it's driving a lot of like taste changes that go along with it because it's. I guess that's personal style, right? Like if
Mm-hmm.
you're into running, you're going to be way more likely to wear a pair of Asics Gel Kayanos than you are to wear a pair of Air Force Ones, because if you're in running shoes all the time, it's going to feel more comfortable to be in running shoes, as opposed to being in some big blocky, almost boot trainers. Yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't really thought about that, but that's definitely going to be playing a part in the shift.
And just before we move on to the next topic of talking about your content
Mm-hmm.
and your journey into making content, has there been any shoe that you've sold that you massively regret? Because I've got one off the top of my head. I had the Asics Angelo Baque collab from Awake New York. They were like a
Mm-hmm.
bright blue Gel K on 014, and I sold them because I was like I needed some money for going on holiday a couple of years ago, and I was like Asics wasn't as big as it was now, and
Mm-hmm.
now I'm like, oh, if I want to go and get them, they're on StockX like 500-600 quid, and I'm like, why? Like, why did I not just
Yeah,
hold on to them? Is there any that you've got rid of and really regret?
yeah, got a fair few. I had both pairs from the Saucony Life on Mars pack. There was I think it was Premier Skateboards, Premier Running, something like that. Saucony did a collaboration with, just all suede, like this really nice rusty red, and then a rusty red and like a black. And I had both pairs from that pack, and I sold them maybe 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and I just regret that painfully because you just can't find them anymore. There's just no chance of getting them. I sold my Air Max 98 Gundams. A bit sad about that as well. I would like to have them back. And then I had a pair of. I mean, the biggest one is not a pair I sold because I did sell them in the end. My Luxes. I wish I'd have just got them soul swapped, but I sold them. I mean, I sold them crumbled for about £100, but I should have just soul swapped them. That's something that I regularly think about. Like, yeah, I should have just soul swapped them for the sake of £100. I should have just done it. But in my head, I was like, I don't know someone who does soul swaps. I'm sure I could find someone, but like, it would cost me like £200 to just have a wearable pair that I already have in hand. That I could sell for £100. So it's like a £300 swing. And so I decided not to. Now I wish I had. But yeah, that would probably be my biggest one, would be the Luxes.
For sure. And then on to the next sort of topic is your content. So I obviously found you for being quite big on TikTok. I really like your content. So for people who don't know you, do you want to talk about like the type of content you make on TikTok and how you got into posting on there, and also how you manage that around obviously working a full-time job too?
Yeah. So I mean, for my job, I work in film and TV, and I'm a chartered accountant. Fashion is not something I do in any aspect professionally, but I just love my clothes, and I've always trying to put a nice outfit on anytime I go out. And so my friends had been saying to me, a number of my pals had said, you should just start posting on social media. And I was really intimidated by the thought of it. It's a whole world that I'm not really in. And so I picked TikTok because, I mean, I'll be 30 this year. Most of my pals are not on TikTok, or weren't, at least at the time where I started posting. And so I was like, right, I'm just going to throw some videos out into the ether and then just see what happens. And the likelihood is these people, if they like it, they like it. And if they don't, it's fine. I don't know them anyway. Like, why do I care? And then started picking up a bit of traction. And it's predominantly, it's get ready with me stuff, because I'm not a genius. I don't know anything special. I'm not a designer. I don't have all that much to teach anyone. So it's not educational content. It's just outfit inspiration, I guess. And I have quite an extensive wardrobe, so I just sort of wear different stuff depending on how I feel. And as time's gone on, I'm way more confident with it now than when I first started. And so yeah, it's pretty much every day I post something. Predominantly it's just get ready with me stuff. And I'm trying, as time goes on, to improve my editing skills and, make things a little bit cleaner and snappier. But one of the core, foundations of what I post and how I make my content is I'm me. I'm still myself. I'm the same person here now having this conversation as I would be if we were in the pub, as I am on my videos. And I take pride in being that same person. There's no smoke and mirrors. I'm not going to be, I'm not that I'm knocking it, but I'm not doing the, hi guys, guess what I've done? I've just picked up this. Like, I'm not doing all of that, like, overly energetic, like crazy. I'm not going to spend £500 on a Zara haul to then go and return it all. Like, that's not what I'm going to do. But it seems like people like it, and I think I've had a lot of people message me talking about, like, you've done great for my mental health, because I like wearing a bit like quirky stuff sometimes, and I didn't feel confident about it. And then I see you come on here and you're doing, like, you just wear whatever you want. And I really like that. And that's helped me. Not that I think that clothes is an overly big thing. For me, I get dressed in my spare bedroom. I'm not taking it too seriously, but a number of people have come to me and said, this is really good. I really enjoy this content. I feel like this is good for me. And so I'm learning as time goes on that actually some people take from it more than what I'm intending for them to take from it, I guess. And I'm sort of navigating that as time goes on as well. And just, trying to be a nice guy and trying to encourage. other people to be nice people, because I feel like it's a bit of a miserable world at the moment, and I think we should
Yeah,
all be trying a little bit harder to be nicer to each other, because I mean the government ain't going to do it, so we should probably do it for ourselves.
100%. And I think off the back of that, like say, being true to yourself and being yourself really reflects, because like I see that in your content, Boz's, Mason's, is you just see normal guys being themselves that you can relate to, and I think that's the most important thing. Because like you say, let's say there's nothing wrong with that influencer sort of type of
Mm,
content. There's like
no,
if
absolutely.
that's what you do and it works, cool, like good for you. But when you see someone, you just like just all three of your content is like I saw it and I thought just normal guys that I can relate to, is just like, oh, they like the stuff I like. There's no, like you say, there's no forced into it. There's no over the top. There's no trying too hard. It's just
Yeah.
them being themselves, liking something that I like, that I can relate to, and I think that's the thing that obviously really works. And it, like, fair play, you're smashing it. And I know we had a conversation obviously before we recorded, and I think probably the next sort of question is that some of the comments that we've obviously seen obviously aren't always positive, and like I'll let you talk about whichever you feel most relevant. But we spoke about one way which was an absolute madness, that when I saw you reply to it, I was like, this is, wow, this is wild that someone's commented this on your video. So
Mm.
how have you sort of dealt with that, and sort of when the comments aren't always positive, like how how you deal with that now? Is that different than when maybe you first
Yeah, for
started?
sure.
And what does that look like for you? And how would you advise other people that are in this sort of position?
So what I will say is that if you are going to post things online, you've got to have thick skin. You can't let these things bother you. To begin with, when I got quite lucky with the first sort of month or so of me posting, I must have hit a couple of areas where they really liked me. You know, I had one of my videos early on did about 60,000 views, which doesn't sound like much in today's world, but I that was huge for my 300 followers. And yeah, I was getting loads of positive attention and loads of, you know, really complimentary remarks about how I looked, and it was really like reaffirming and really nice. And then obviously as time goes on, that's not real. In the same way as that, you know, the positive comments are just as not real as the negative comments. And I think that's something you've got to try and remain level-headed about. Like, I don't think I'm special if I get a video that does really well and I get loads of love, and I don't think that I'm not if I get a video that, you know, I get a load of abuse on. But I think I grew up. I went to an all boys school. I played rugby, and I was just a normal fella, right? And so what do you do with your pals? You rip on each other all the time. So there's nothing that anyone on the internet has ever said to me that my pals haven't told me already, right? That's the first thing. Like, these people out there, sadly, there are a lot of very miserable people out there that will, you know, they go to work, they get talked down to by their boss, they come home, their missus gives them shit, they don't get any respect in their life. And so they go online and they try to basically upset someone else because they can't take control of their own life. I pity him. I'm really sorry that that's how you feel like you need to, you know, live. And we spoke beforehand, you and I, about never posted a negative comment on anything ever. I don't think there's a need for it. So as soon as you see, for anyone who's starting with their like content journey, when you see the negative comments, just remember that that comes from a place of their inadequacies and has no reflection on who you are and your content. That is just how it is. Like, no one's ever told me in real life, you dress like an idiot, or you look like. So the comment we spoke about before was one that I've had a number of times, which is he's definitely a revert, right? He's definitely a Muslim convert, because I am a white man with a ginger beard and a bald head, and that's it, right? But I have been told not to like make a thing, not to reply to these comments because you've given them power or whatever. I am actually of the opinion that you speak the truth and you shame the devil and you put these people on blast to show the world just how embarrassing certain mindsets are, and it's never that deep. I was telling you before, I've been told to kill myself in the DM. Someone DM me to tell me to kill myself because I do get ready with me's, mate. Get ready with me's. Get a grip, brother. Like, there's
Literally.
no way it's that deep. And I mean, what a lot of people don't know, and I don't think anyone on any of my channels knows, but when I was about 17, got a diagnosis with a severe depression and anxiety disorder, right? You wouldn't necessarily guess because I'm quite confident, quite outgoing. But sometimes I had one video that did like 300,000 views and I was getting cooked in the comments. And I just didn't want to go on my phone. Didn't like it. Didn't want to go on the phone. It was so overwhelming. I'd open my phone and there'd be another 20 comments. I'd put it down for half hour, open it, there's another 20 comments. And what I did was I basically pulled up my big boy pants. I went through every one of the comments and I was like, right, okay, you can't bother me anymore. I've read them all. I'm not upset. And that was like a turning point for me in my content journey, and started to be from there a little bit braver about, who cares? Like, really, it's closed. Like everyone needs to just relax. It's closed. No one's doing anything. Like it's not.
You're not hurting anyone. You're not doing anything bad. Like,
Yeah.
it's not that deep. You're just doing something
Yeah,
you enjoy.
exactly. It's not. I'm not Andrew Tate out here spouting absolute drivel to young kids trying to incite a gender war or anything like that. I'm not talking about geopolitics and like the intricacies of war. I'm talking about clothes. It's cotton, it's wool, it's leather. It's like, come on, like let's all be grounded here. But yeah, so anyway, the bad comments are bad, and it's a shame that people feel like they need to do it. But I'll be honest, like at this point, I've posted maybe 500 videos now because I posted every day for about a year and a half.
That's crazy. That's
Yeah,
consistency.
nothing bothers me. Nothing bothers me. Like there's no comment ever that gets to me. And I know people like to think that there is. But I will sit there and I will grin at these comments because, it's just like, what do you think
Haven't you
of it?
got
And it's
anything better
funny.
to do? Right.
I have the same people that come back as well. So I have blokes and I'm so certain it's
You've got
blokes.
reply guys. You've literally got reply guy haters.
Mate, they come back again and again and again. And they come back on multiple videos. So there's this one guy I've actually just blocked him today on TikTok who has, I think for the past like 10 videos, he's popped up on like 6 of them, just commenting something to be like a dick. And it's like, but you keep coming back. You enjoy me. Like, whether you like to say it or not, you are a fan of mine because you're commenting on my page more than some of my pals do.
It's a madness, isn't it? It when people do that. Like
It's so odd.
he's going out of his way. Like he could be doing anything he wants to do and enjoy anything, but he's going out of his way to go check your content and leave something
Yeah.
negative. Like, bro, go enjoy something you like doing. Go
Yeah.
go
Jesus
outside. Like,
Christ. Like, just go outside.
literally. Like
It's
that's a
funny. I get
madness.
another one I get. Obviously I'm a fully grown man getting dressed online, right? And so that's something that I get, like, people will talk about a lot. And the one I get is I had one a little while ago that was, oh, get a job. Like, you're never gonna, like, why are you trying to dodge having to work for your money, and you're trying to get, brother, I don't get paid from this. I do this out of the pure enjoyment and the fact that I love clothes, and I've met loads of people that love clothes. I'm a full-time chartered accountant. I make good enough money to pay for all of these clothes and talk about it. Why, like, this is like a thing that I just think some people are just not wired
Do,
quite like the rest of us.
yeah, I think we spoke about this before, but do you think it's a thing like where people judge you based on the number of followers you've got, and like we spoke about people talking to you differently or assuming things about you
Yeah,
just because it's a number on Instagram when they forget that like you're a normal person, like
Yeah, I
Like
think
we
I
both.
get it. I get it in two different ways. So there's some people that will look at me, right, and you look at me. I'm a relatively big guy, covered in tattoos, bald head, beard. I look like I should be on a building site, or being a man and doing proper blokey man stuff. And I'm talking about clothes on the internet, right? And people, there is a certain subgroup of people that just can't seem to get that in their heads that you can look like this and be a certain way. And then there's other people that look at, like, people that I know personally, or otherwise, that sort of look at sort of I mean, it's not a huge following, but a good number of thousands of people following, and they're like, oh wow, you must be like really special. Like, there's something great about you. There isn't. I'm not, and I can promise you now, none of the influencers, content creators that you follow are inherently special people. They're just people that post content, right? Like, they just like what they're doing. And that's not to say that they're not, but what I mean is, just because someone has a big following doesn't mean that they should get any more of your respect, any more of your time, or they should allow you to feel a certain way. Like, one of the things that I try and avoid doing is anything where you need to buy this, because I know now where I'm at. I have been somewhat influential for people. Like, a lot of people, we spoke before about Levi 550s, right? I bang on
Mhm.
about them a lot. I've had at least 10 blokes DM me saying, I bought a pair of Levi's 550s. Absolutely bang on, mate. You did really well suggesting that. I hadn't actually necessarily said go and buy some, but they had, right? So it started to tweak for me that actually people are listening to what I'm saying. I need to be cautious about what I'm saying, because I don't want to encourage people to go and spend their money on things that they shouldn't be spending their money on. And I guess
Mhm.
that works the same the other way. Like, I try when I'm watching, because you see things, you get influenced. We're all adults. We can understand that. I see
Yeah.
something Daniel Simmons does, for instance, and he might buy himself a new pair of boots, and I'm like, oh, they're a really nice pair of boots, or I think I might need that pair of boots right now. And then, you have to stop and think, well, he's just a bloke, just a guy. Do you want the boots because you really want the boots, or do you want the boots because this guy has the boots? And if the question is no, if the answer is, I want it because he's got it, you don't really want it. You shouldn't do that. And so I'm trying to say, like, I'm trying to
Yeah.
encourage, wear your clothes, enjoy your clothes, but don't go and just follow every influencer, every trend, or anything like that. So yeah, it's a funny little thing to navigate, because my comfortable place is with the boys at the pub, just chatting shit. I'm just a very normal bloke. And so as things get a little bit better and as my pages grow, yeah, I'm trying to navigate that in with the most humility possible. Because I see some people lose their heads a little bit in this, get a little bit of, what's it, clout? That's the word. They get a bit of clout, and then
And switch up.
yeah, and that will, yeah, never be me, man, never ever.
And just before we wrap up, we'll get one final question in. For anyone wanting to start making content like you, or just get involved with making their own sort of content, do you have any advice for people, or what would be like your biggest,
Yeah.
thing you need to do this?
It took me ages to start, right? That's what I will say. I thought about it for a long time before I did it. I regret not starting earlier. Like, the best time to start is today. Honestly, the best time to start is today. Just get going, get the ball rolling, do something, right? Because if you overthink it, you'll never do it. Like, I bought this mic recently. I've been using cheap Amazon mics for ages, and before that, I was just doing voiceover content where I'd record the video and voiceover after. Like, I use an iPhone 13 Pro. It's not a brand new phone. Just clean the camera before you start. It makes a world of difference. Good lighting is important, especially if you're doing fashion content. I record all my videos in daylight, so that you can actually see the colors as they're supposed to be. And, lights indoors are not good, so avoid those. Look at other people's content. There's nothing wrong, I'd say, with looking at someone else's content, seeing what you like about it, and working out how to make your content better with what you know. Doesn't mean you copy someone, but you can, take bits and pieces from different people's content and use that to level yourself up. What else? I mean, plan things out. Like with my videos, I will have ideas for something I want to wear, or I'm going somewhere, or I'm going out for dinner. So I'm like, oh, what am I going to wear if I'm going out for dinner? Right, I might wear da 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 da. So I'll just write it down, and then you know, it's just a bit of structure, a light bit of structure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that would be it. To be honest, the main thing is just get cracking, just get started. Like you lose nothing because at the end of the day, if you set up a page on TikTok and you post 100 videos and then you decide actually this isn't for me, you delete the page and it's gone. You haven't got to worry about it ever again. It's not like someone's going to come and knock on your door like,
Not the end of the
"Is
world.
this you?" Nah, no one cares, man. Yeah, just get started. It's you care about it more than anyone else does.
That's it. And that's a good point to finish on. So, on that note, Cal, I want to say a big thank you for taking your time. Just before we hop off, want to give a quick plug for yourself. Where can people check you out?
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on. Very kind. I've enjoyed it. That's A1Cow on TikTok, A1Cow underscore on Instagram. Yeah. Hit me up, man. I'm in the comments as well. So I reply to everyone. And yeah, I get chatty. So yeah, give me a shout.
Awesome. Thanks, bro. Have a good rest of your day.
Appreciate it, my man.